This is from the Duke of Orkney's Leonardo. The kingdom of Elfwick lives by wrecking. The emergency was still in the future, but it was inevitable and must be faced with measures of economy, tightening of belts, and finding alternative sources of supply. For the Duke of Orkney was mortal and over 60, an age at which mortals begin to fall to bits. His heir was a miserly ascetic, always keeping Lents. There would be no more casks of wine and brandy, no more of those delicious smoked hams, no more candied apricots from Provence, fine cloth from Flanders, spices to redeem home-killed mutton from the aroma of decay. The cow would advance her horns to no purpose. The Elfwick standard of living would fall catastrophically. The meeting closed with a unanimous recommendation to make sure of the Duke of Orkney's next consignment. It could be expected before the autumn equinox. Spies were sent out for hearsay of it. Watchers were stationed along the cliffs where they lolled in the sun, chewing wild thyme. It had been an exceptionally early harvest. Rye and oats were already in stooks, rustling in the wind. It was a lulling sound, but not so to the court purveyor, for it was a west wind, and though it was gentle, it was steady. Of all the quarters the wind could blow from, he prayed for any but the west. With a west wind keeping her well out to sea, the Duke's ship would be safe from those serviceable currents that nourished the cow. Elfwick would get nothing. Subduing his principles, consulting nobody, the purveyor put on a respectable visibility and sought out the nearest coven of witches. They were throwing toads and toenails into a simmering cauldron. The smell was intolerable, but he got out his request and at the same time got out a purse and clinked it. "A wind from the east," said the head witch. "You should go to my sister in Lapland for that." He answered that he was sure a Caithness witch could do as well or better. She threw in another toad and said he should have his will. Handing over the purse, he asked if there was anything he could supply. A younger witch spoke up. "A few cats? 7, maybe." "Alive?" "Oh, aye." He carried the hamper of squalling cats to the place they commanded and fled in trust and terror. The storm which impaled the Duke of Orkney's ship on the Elfwick cow did so at a price. Hailstones battered down the stooks and froze the beehives. A month's washing was whirled away from the drying yard. Shutters were torn from their hinges. Fruit trees were uprooted. Pigs went mad. The kitchen chimney was struck by lightning. The purveyor, clutching at his heart, fell dead. Leaf stepped over him on her way out. The clamour of wind and voices, the reports of a superb cargo, of a cargo still at hazard, had been more than she could withstand. Settling Gentil with a picture book, she locked him in, put the key in her bosom, and ran to the cliff's edge. Bursts of spray made it difficult to see what was going on. She caught sight of a Negro fighting his way to shore against the suck of the undertow. He was down. He was up again, still grasping an encumbering package. It was wrenched from him by the undertow. He turned back. When she could see him again, he had retrieved it. Curious to know what it was he guarded so jealously, she descended the path. By the time she reached the strand, he had been dispatched and lay sprawled over his package, an oblong wooden box latticed with strips of iron, as though he would still protect it. She tried to pull it from under him, but it was too heavy for her to shift. More and more plunder was being fetched ashore. She stood unnoticed in the jostle till one of the freemen tripped over the Negro. He started at seeing Leaf there and panted out felicitations. Never had the cow done better for Elfwick. She told them that the Negro's box was hers, under the old law of finders keepers. He must call off one of the wreckers to carry it after her to the castle. On the cliff's summit, she stopped to look back. Twitches of lightning played incessantly over the sea. Remade by wind and tempest, she felt a lifetime away from Gentil. when the grunting porter asked what to do with the box. She had forgotten it existed.